Perfect. Perfect.
What is going on, everybody? RB here. Welcome into Philly Take with RB. Happy August to all of my fellow people out there. Be sure to hit the like button if you are supporting the content. Like I said, we have a lot of big things coming up soon. Be sure to subscribe, ring the bell. Don't miss any of the coverage. Today we're back, though, and we've officially hit the dead point of the NBA offseason. Let's be honest. It is quiet on all fronts. It'll probably be like this for the next couple weeks. We're waiting on some big trade news around the league for a couple players. One of those players is a part of our Philadelphia 76ers. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but really on all fronts right now around the NBA, it is just silent. And this is typical, right? But today I wanted to come on here and just really talk about this offseason in totality and kind of foreshadow. We have a little bit of news to get to. We'll hit that in a second, but a question for the listeners out there. Let me know down below in the comments. Feel free to elaborate. What do you think is going to happen next? Is this the entire result of the offseason? And most importantly, is this the weirdest, oddest offseason that you have ever seen from the Philadelphia 76ers? You know, I think back to 2019. Yes, it was awful. It was brutal. The Sixers signed Al Horford. They re-signed Tobias Harris. They, made a lot of bad decisions, letting Jimmy Butler walk, etc. But at least at that point, they had a plan, right? They showed us a plan and said, we're going to go big. We're going to play multiple big men. We're going to go bully ball, try to, take it away from the trend at the current time, and we're going to do something different. Okay, it didn't work out. Right now, I am completely lost, if I'm being honest with you. We analyze this team every single day. I think back to 2021, where the Ben Simmons situation was going on in the offseason. It's really all we could talk about. But even then, we knew what Daryl Morey's concrete plan was. He said, I'm not trading the guy until I get a star in return, until I get what I want. And yes, there were viable options out there. There were multiple teams that reportedly had interest. So we knew it was going to be a waiting process and it was going to take some time. And right now, we have the whole James Harden situation. And I've been saying this entire offseason, you do not want to let this get back to a similar training camp situation. You do not want that to happen again, because you saw what happened last time. Even guys back in 2021 going into the first part of the season literally admitted to it. They said, this is weird. We don't like this. Some nights guys didn't know if they were playing or not. One night, Ben Simmons was showing up. The next night he wasn't. Nobody knew what the outcome was, and it just creates a lot of confusion. It's hard to really get that championship identity and chemistry down early in the season when you have drama like that going on. And we've seen what has happened before with James Harden. You do not want him to come back out of shape. He's done it before. He will do it again. You do not want him to come back disgruntled. So really, the Sixers are in a tough spot right now, because it's not like they can go trade him and get what Daryl Morey wants, right? There really is not a team hanging off the ledge saying, we will give this, this, and this, and we'll go overboard and give this to get James Harden. It doesn't seem like there's any dying interest in him right now, apart from maybe role players and draft picks, etc. So really, the Sixers are stuck. And I keep coming back to this notion that there has to be some type of plan, but all off season, the Sixer fan base in the comment section, yo, RB, chill, relax, calm down. It's only July 1st. We have a plan, take the time and, just wait on it. Okay, fine, let's wait on it. But now it is August 3rd, and we are probably, a little over a month, maybe a month and some change away from Sixers training camp. And there is no resolution. It doesn't even seem to be close to a resolution. And again, it's either you pay James Harden, which I don't think is the best interest for this team long term, or you trade him and get scraps. And I don't think that's good either, because right now, based on the viable options out there, I think James Harden coming back is, the best version of this team right now, based on what is available. So, it's getting to that point where it's probably going to be quiet the next couple of weeks, but something needs to happen. This cannot be one of those standoff situations, which I feel it's trending towards. And it's just an ugly, ugly scenario, especially for this team who, even though it's been so, such a tragedy, even though it's been so ugly the last couple finishes of the past few seasons, let's be honest, they were right there yet again. Game 6 on their home court, had a chance to close it out. Game 7, they got obliterated. Every guy has to look at himself in the mirror, but you go and you bring Nick Nurse in. And I said at the beginning of this offseason that I would even for the first time think about moving Embiid just to, get a haul of 4 or 5 first-round picks while he's at his MVP highest value. But immediately off the bat, Daryl Morey made it clear, we're not trading Joel Embiid. Don't think about it. We brought in Nick Nurse, and we're trying to contend. So when I think about this roster right now, it is so incomplete. They did not do anything to get better, and we're kind of in a standstill. What I really believe happened is that Daryl Morey thought they could run this thing back, maybe add a piece or two, and Nick Nurse would kind of fill the gap. He would, bridge the gap there and make the difference. But then James Harden wanted out, and, he was not agreeing to a long-term deal. Daryl Morey was not. And now this thing is just out ahead, and the Sixers need to figure this thing out if they want to get it right. Now, we do have some news, and again, this just adds on to the weirdest offseason ever thing, which, to answer the question myself, I believe this is the weirdest offseason. I just do not understand it at all. Their only moves, we'll get into that, but Montrezl Harrell, which was one of their offseason moves, one of their main moves was re-signing Montrezl Harrell, and he now has a torn ACL per Shams, also a torn meniscus after undergoing an MRI Wednesday to assess recent knee swelling following an offseason workout. So now one of the guys you brought back, Montrezl Harrell, is injured, and he's probably going to be gone for the season. Keith Pompey and a couple others reporting that they're going to keep Trez and not apply for the disabled player exception to use his salary as a trade asset. Let me tell you something here. This isn't breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody wants Montrezl Harrell. I mean, I liked the signing last year. He just doesn't have a lot left in the tank. He literally went out on the free agent market, had no value, re-signed for the minimum, and I just don't understand the point of keeping him. There's no trade asset there unless it's a plug in a trade, but still there's not that much salary to compensate for anything. I just don't understand it. So now Montrezl Harrell is out, and we think about the offseason so far. This is what the Sixers have done. Again, they were this close. They were within arm's reach from the conference finals yet again. I know they blew it. I know they may have not been a championship team, but you never know what would have happened if they beat the Celtics and played the Miami undrafteds, and who knows, right? But they let George Niang walk, who was one of their best shooters. They let Jalen McDaniels walk, who they traded for, right? They traded Thibault and a pick, and they got McDaniels for half a year. Didn't play him much in the playoffs. He walks. Shake Milton goes as well. And they signed Pat Bev, who I like, right? He'll upgrade your defense a little bit, upgrade your tenacity as a squad, but let's be honest, he's not going to give you 15 off the bench per game, and he might not have that much left. He's a nice character, but is he going to contribute on the floor? Then they signed Mo Bamba, and they re-signed Montrezl Harrell, and they finally bring back Paul Reed. And I just can't sit here and believe that this is the final roster. But at the same time, Daryl Morey keeps preaching 2024, which also doesn't make sense, because if you keep Joel Embiid and you bring in a coach who you expect to get you over the top, why do you keep floating this out there about, getting the most cap space for 2024 going forward? Yes, I agree. That's a great thing to have, right? That's a great thing to have in your arsenal. A lot of cap space so you can sign a free agent next summer and, try to recoup some of this draft compensation. That's a good idea, but it feels like you're half in, half out. You cannot do this because it's not going to work. It's not going to work, having 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And it seems like all offseason, right? We had a lot of Tobias Harris smoke early on. That went completely awry once the Harden rumors came up. And Daryl Morey's been trolling the entire offseason on Twitter, kind of just making jokes about things. And, who knows what's going to happen with the James Harden thing. I really believe that, with another year of James Harden, Joel Embiid developing chemistry, getting better with the two-man game, another year of Tyrese Maxey, I think that this team would be in better position, at least with Nick Nurse, but now they have a disgruntled star in James Harden. And again, we've seen it in prior situations. When he's unhappy, he's not willing to usually come back unless you pay him. And I just don't think Daryl Morey's going to do that, right? It feels like their relationship has been struck and we're at that standstill point. And shout out to Sixer Daily here. This is the Sixers depth chart essentially right now. Who knows about Harden, but Pat Bev would be the backup guard. Maxey, Melton, Springer, Korkmaz. I mean, they're hoping Springer can take a step, but still a long shot. Tobias, Daniel House, Ricky Council, and Reed and Tucker. And they signed Petrusev to be a backup with Embiid and Bamba. Let me tell you something. Bamba and Pat Bev are not going to make this team any different from what they were last year. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And Sixer fans who have been through this entire process, no pun intended, have every right to be confused and pissed off right now and wondering what is going to happen. Because again, there are not many teams that get this amount of opportunities nowadays, 5, 6 years in a row to keep running this thing back and trying. And the Sixers have been very close, but they have ultimately failed for different reasons. And it feels like, okay, now you have the coach that maybe can propel you, but now you're stuck in another situation, right? And it's not even like you did anything else. Like there are guys out there, the Kelly Oubres of the world, the PJ Washingtons, I believe, and a couple others that are still potentially available, whether it's via free agent or trade or whatever, and you're not doing anything. What is the plan? What is the plan? This has been the weirdest Sixers offseason ever. I don't know what's coming next. I feel like we're going to have some beef, some drama going into training camp, but I would advise the Sixers not to let this draw out. That's my spiel on it. Hopefully something happens in the coming weeks. You got to make a decision. You got to go one way, one direction or the other. Those are my thoughts. Give me yours down below in the comment section. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. That being said, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.